This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Tuesday, 21st May 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. 3 former members of the Strategic Services Agency, SSA, were charged with misbehavior in public office last evening. Police confirmed that dismissed former director, Major Roger Best, was not charged among the 3, as investigations into allegations of misconduct against him are ongoing. However, Best religious advisor, self-professed spy Pastor Ian Brown, along with Portel Griffith, a former security advisor, and Sergeant Sherwin Waldron, a tactical operations officer, were all reportedly charged. The men, along with Best, were arrested last week and were released over the weekend. In March, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley advised Best would be sent on administrative leave before appointing former U.S. Ambassador, retired Brigadier General Anthony Philip Spencer, to take over the agency. Philip Spencer is undertaking a probe into SSA operations. Major Best was fired on Saturday, 3 days after he and the 3 others were arrested and questioned in relation to state-issued firearms. The Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago provided psychosocial support and medical care to a minor following media reports of alleged abuses against other children at a children's home in central Trinidad. The authority explained it's working closely with the TT Police Service to determine the facts surrounding the alleged incidents. It said support and care will continue for the children at this time. The accounts of Trinidad and Tobago Radio Network, TTRN, the parent company of radio stations 96.1 WFM, Star 97, 94.7 and 107.7, jointly owned by Anthony Chowlanon, have been garnished by the state. Chowlanon is the managing director of TTRN, which supposedly owes the state $34 million to the Board of Inland Revenue for unpaid taxes. The sum, however, is exclusive of interest on the debt for the period 2015 to 2024. According to the BIR letter, the accounts were seized on April 25th. At a staff meeting held last Wednesday, Chowlanon said he was hoping to have the matter resolved by way of a payment plan to the state by the end of this month. He said the station's business model was adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and is not sufficiently recovered. He also said it was compounded by the failure of advertising agencies and clients to pay sums owed to the station at this time. Doubles vendor Anisha Hussain remains missing after she was abducted outside the popular Source Doubles outlet in El Dorado this past Saturday morning, May 18th. Hussain, 27, was preparing with her husband and family to open the outlet when she was forced into a silver Nissan B15 by 3 masked men with guns. Her husband, Rajiv Singh, was grazed in his face by a bullet as the gunmen fired shots before driving off. The family and officials close to the case have been tight-lipped about the kidnapping. However, investigations and the search continued for the kidnapped woman by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Virologist Professor Chris Ora cautioned there's a particular strain of avian influenza which is being closely monitored by global experts. It started in Asia, but has so far spread throughout the Americas. Professor Ora admitted the virus has the ability to change and adapt its particular strain, and has been around since 2021. Professor Ora made the remarks while being interviewed on Power Digital yesterday morning. Former clerk of the House of Representatives, Jackie Sampson Miguel, is sworn in as the Ombudsman of Trinidad and Tobago. She was sworn in by Speaker Bridget Anisette George on Monday for a period of 3 years. Sampson Miguel, an attorney at law, served as a clerk of the House from 1995 to 2014 when she retired. The Parliament says she brings to the office many experience in public service as a senior manager and accounting officer. One of the colleagues of the late police officer Dale Maz is asking the public to remember him for the professional way he carried out his duties. Constable Maz was shot and killed in an attempted robbery in Chaguanas last week. Reports indicate at the time he was at a bar in Montrose Road in the company of his wife and a friend when confronted by an armed man with a gun. He died while undergoing treatment at hospital. Speaking at the military funeral for Constable Myers on the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Monday, one of his colleagues recalled his friend did his job with bravery and sacrifice, adding the family can be assured of love and full support. In news of the region, the Bermuda Parliament approved legislation providing for stringent punishment, including life imprisonment for anyone convicted of offenses that cause a significant risk to serious damage to human welfare or serious damage to national security in that country. National Security Minister Michael Weeks said the Computer Misuse Act 2024, which the government said is intended to help battle cybercrime in the British Overseas Territory, will also provide for a $1 million fine. Weeks told legislators over the past 5 years the Department of Public Prosecution has prosecuted only 2 cases under the existing legislation prior, and that the Computer Misuse Act 1996 was not conducive to the present-day realities involving the misuse of computers. And finally, in Britain, a long-awaited report says authorities covered up the infected blood scandal after knowingly exposed victims to unacceptable risks. The 5-year investigation accused doctors, the government, and the NHS of letting patients catch HIV and hepatitis. More than 30,000 people were infected from 1970 to 1991 by contaminated blood products and transfusions. About 3,000 have since died, and more deaths are expected to follow. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way and brought to you with the compliments of Genesco Appliances Limited nationwide.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Good morning, neighbors. Good morning, neighbors, and welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital, the Tuesday edition. It is the 21st day of May. All right, the 21st day of May, almost complete, I tell you. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, on the show, it's the R's Twins this morning. We just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Shane. We got Ruben in the mix. My name is Steve Khan. It is 27 degrees on both islands. And tell you, traffic-wise, I got nothing ready to tell you about. Just volume in the usual spots. All right? Just volume. Good morning to Pablo. What's happening?
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Everyone logged in to the app and the website and to METV and to all the various platforms streaming this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Facebook and YouTube as well. Of course, you send us a message there on WhatsApp at 318-1021. Let's say good morning going out to Oliver Man Warren, Garcilia Valencia, Boy Bedesi, Debe. I'm still waiting. John Cato, good morning. Sasha out in London. Morning to you. Wendy and James, who's out in San Juan. Marcia Rock out in Orlando. DJ Ray out in Delaware. D. Pierre. Mogins in Naruka, Rena Boodoo Jennings in Petit Valley, Carol Guevara, Brent Hackshaw, CJ out in New York, Ambrose Block, Gloria Gray, Keith Possessor, Evans David. I exploded. Sherwin Cook, good morning. Ian Lee, good morning to you. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan, good morning to you. DL, Richard Duku, Patricia DeFore, David Wares, and of course, good morning, Mrs. Wares. How was that crispy skin pork this morning, David Wares? I saw it. Can't get away, David. Can't get away.
David, I miss your food blogs.
Yeah, he doesn't do any food blogs anymore.
I really, really enjoyed your food blogs, David. You should start back your food blogs. I miss your food blogs.
Yeah.
Take Steve along with you. He could eat a lot.
Yeah. I want to go to that some barbecue place somewhere, David. Right. Look.
I saw what's called a fish boil in St. James, and close to the St. James market that I wanted to check out too. So.
Yes, David. So get cracking. Good morning to CMJ out in Baghdad. He says it's 40 degrees. Ugh. Oh, Dan Raj, good morning. Trevor Arima, good morning. GNC Auto Security, good morning. And I've got one more here saying morning on WhatsApp. David Nelson, how you doing? Hope all is well. Yeah, so David really missed those food blogs, so get cracking. And the man is good to Tobago for jazz, and he just posts everything up, and we just dislike him even more. As I shake my head.
You know, you can't see nobody eat.
No, but that some barbecue place he went, I can't remember because he don't blog anymore. That it looked absolutely amazing. Yeah, let me know where that is. And David, the best doubles I find is Ali's in Barataria. Just letting you know that.
Where's that?
On 5th Street in Barataria. You know where the gas station is? The road that runs parallel to the Priority bus route.
Okay.
So if you leave San Juan heading to...
I like the pies.
Yeah, the pies.
Okay, but I like the pies.
Yeah, I have both actually. Sometimes I do. Saturday is a pie day.
Yeah, I like the pies. Doubles are quite subjective in people's tastes. I have a lot of good doubles in Trinidad and Tobago, so it's difficult to say this place has the best doubles and that place has the best doubles.
Well, the place I go to, I find it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Trying to cut back on the intake.
Can I speak to Steve Khan, please? You trying to cut down since when?
Yeah, I'm trying to cut back a little bit. I do love my doubles. It's a nice breakfast.
I love food generally, Steve.
Yeah.
As is quite evident.
Yeah. And speaking of doubles, that young lady has not been found. They had a vigil for her in St. Joseph last evening.
It was St. Joseph. Well, yeah, I have some video from that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
A lot of people came out.
A lot of people came out
last night.
A
lot of people came out. It was St. Joseph.
Yeah. Mostly, everybody was in white.
To show solidarity with the family and pray for her safe return. She's still not been found. I'm praying. I went, actually I had doubles yesterday, so I went to the doubles people in Barataria by the gas station in the roundabout. And just tell them to be safe out there. And they were very distressed by it, and
I think a lot of people are distressed of this whole scenario, and the way that crime seems to be escalating on a daily basis.
Well, I think one of the points of concern to Steve and people is that you're not hearing anything from the police. I mean, I'm sure they're investigating. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they're working hard. I'm sure the anti-kidnapping squad has been engaged. I'm sure the police, I understand they're working along with Hunters Association, Balance Rambarat, and I understand they're involved in helping to search. But there's I have not seen any official release from the police saying, if the public has any information, come forward and help. Maybe it's out there and I didn't see it, but I didn't see that. If anybody has, and that is a little disconcerting to me. That I've seen no official information from the police, and neither about the 5 murders on the weekend, and the silence is kind of deafening, and I don't know. It's maybe it's a different approach to dealing with these situations by the present police leadership, but I mean, I don't know. It's just the silence from the police commissioner and the police leadership is a little disconcerting to me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What I'm saying. Say we're working on it. Reassure the public that they will stamp all this. I mean,
reassure
the public sometimes needs that sort of reassurance from the police leadership, and I don't hear it.
Yeah, I know someone. Her daughter flew into the country yesterday for a vacation out to the US, and her mom is absolutely worried.
Yeah, as anyone would be.
Absolutely worried.
Yeah, sleeping to the chair reach home,
and it's a grown woman. Her daughter is a grown woman. It is not a teenager. It's
Steve, grown people getting killed all the time.
Yeah, boy.
So, but they are grown or not, don't make a
Look
difference.
at Tobago within the last 2 weeks. 4 murders?
Yeah.
One again on the weekend. But the TDPS really needs to talk to the population.
As I said, I am absolutely sure that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and more particularly the anti-kidnapping squad and other agencies, are working assiduously to get this young woman home. I am sure. My issue is the silence, the radio silence, and that thing is quite disconcerting.
You can't be silent now. You can't.
But apparently you can.
No.
You know, so we're also praying for her safe return, and I can just imagine the harrowing experiences for her husband and the family. So say a prayer as you go for this young woman, that she's still alive and she's able to come home to her family safely, because I don't know. It's just I can't handle that bad news, honestly. I just can't. You know? I don't want it to be no bad news. I want it to be that she's been released safely.
Yes. We all want to hear that.
Let's put the positive energy out there, and, you know, abductors, criminals, if you are listening, please just release the woman. Just release her safely.
That's all.
Just release her somewhere safe so that somebody can pick up and take her to a police station and she can get back to her family. Please release her safely. I'm begging you to release her safely.
You know,
I mean, think of, she's somebody's wife. She's the mother of a 3-year-old boy. I mean, just let her come home to her son, please. Let her come home to her son and her husband and her family. I mean, if you have any heart in you at all, let her come home to her family. Oh, Father Lord.
I just... It's just, you know, you leave your home. You got to be so vigilant. Even at home, you have to be vigilant. You know, you're walking in the road. You have to profile.
You have to be very, very vigilant.
You just can't
you can't drop your guard at all, you know?
Yeah.
You have to be very vigilant, because, I mean, this is, and I just hope this is not the restart of a spate of kidnappings in this country. I just really pray not.
Yeah. Look, Karen Yip now is saying, what about Andrea Barrett? In a horrific way her life was taken.
Yeah.
You know?
The other big news this morning in the papers is being reported in The Guardian is that there have been 3 charges laid against 3 people, including self-confessed spy Pastor Ian Brown. The Guardian also names one Portel Griffith, who's said to be a former security advisor, and also Sergeant Sherwin Waldron, a tactical operations officer, all reportedly charged. Major Roger Best, who was fired on Saturday as director of the SSA, was not among those persons charged. So, and apparently the charges have been laid in relation to some state-issued firearms that quite potentially ended up in the wrong hands. So I don't know how certainly that will progress, and how the eventual probe and investigation by retired Brigadier General Anthony Philip Spencer, which is over a month old now, is progressing. And what a mess.
It's a mess. No kidding.
You know, the Prime Minister, in the press conference when he returned from his trip on Sunday, said that the government was blindsided by what was going on in the SSA. And it raises so many questions about oversight of these security agencies, you know, and who and what mechanism is responsible for oversight of these types of agencies. As the saying in Trinidad and Tobago goes, who went to guard the guards? Because the SSA is the country's top spy in air quotations agencies, charged with the responsibility of intelligence gathering, has tremendous powers to surveil you and me. The pink phone.
Pink phone.
They're in the pink phone all the time. And other phones and other forms of communication, lawfully, under certain circumstances. Could follow you around in the interest of pursuing national security and making sure the country is safe. So when you have that kind of power, there need to be oversight mechanisms to manage that kind of power. Because that kind of power can go awry in somebody's hands very, very easily. And this is the second time in this country in recent times that we've heard about this agency being brought into disrepute. And it tells you that something is missing to me from a proper oversight mechanism for this kind of agency. I know the Parliament can ask, the SSA has appeared before Joint Select Committee National Security twice since I'm there. But on the 2 times they've been there, the evidence is not publicized because of the kind of evidence that they provide to the committee. So those sessions are done privately, and then the relevant information that is public, that is available and possible to be made public, is put into the report. But what is the oversight mechanism moving forward for this agency so that it doesn't happen again? So that if a superior or a senior person decides to go rogue and do whatever they want, how is information about that triggered? Because my information, which is usually pretty accurate, told me that there had been several warnings about things going awry in the SSA before. And it's only when a particular whistleblower corralled evidence and said, listen to me, National Security Council, hey, look, we telling all your things going wrong all the time and all you ain't taking wrong. Look, this is what we've gathered so far. Things are really going awry. That there was that emergency meeting on that Saturday, and Major Best was suspended, and retired Brigadier Philip Spencer was brought in to helm the organization and to do the probe and the investigation into what had been happening. And then remember when we spoke to the pastor, we got some quite stirring revelations ourselves. So there has to be from this some sort of learning that, well, although it is a very powerful agency, and because it's a very powerful agency, there has to be some sort of better oversight mechanism for that kind of agency. There has to be.
It must be.
You know? I mean, this government has bandied about the name Rashmi Ramnarayan for the last 8 years because of what happened with an inappropriate appointment. And now, if I'm not mistaken, Major Best was appointed under this government. Yeah.
Yeah.
The government in power 8+ years. Yeah. He's not there for 8 years. You have this bacchanal. So what does it tell you about oversight of the organization? And from all accounts, don't get me wrong, Major Best, highly qualified, highly decorated military life. You understand? So his credentials on paper are unquestionable, you know? Good service, decorated. So, but then if you are to believe what's in the public domain, what went wrong along the way? And why wasn't there some sort of mechanism to identify to the leadership of the country, certainly the National Security Council and its leadership, who is the Prime Minister, that something not going right there?
That's right. And
maybe we need to pause and see what is going wrong, if something is going wrong. Because, I mean, when we wait for a third time now, so... I mean, the 2 scenarios are extremely different. Don't get me wrong. The Mr. Ramnarayan and they're 2 completely different scenarios, but still they surround this very, very important agency. Some, if we learn nothing from this as a country, is that some mechanism needs to be put in place to regularly audit the operations of the SSA because of the vast power that this agency has over all of us. Here,
your ping phone. Raise your ping phone.
It's only because 2 or 3 high-powered people in the country were allegedly under surveillance that the whole thing turned on mass. I hear.
Really?
Sips coffee.
Sip. I don't have coffee.
It's a good cup of coffee this morning. It's not too sweet.
Mm.
I hear.
Mm-hmm.
The phone go ping ping. Well, I have a little. Let me say that one. Can't tell out the
Sell it out. Go ahead, speak. It's just me.
Are you mad? I wouldn't get no more information.
It's me. That's true.
Just between you and I, nobody else.
Nobody else.
I hear it's only because of the supposedly unauthorized surveillance of some high-powered people.
Unauthorized, you said it.
Unauthorized.
Mm.
And without any real, authentic, or legitimate reason that the whole thing turned on mass. Again, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Give it away. It says too much power.
And then when you hear about the relationship with this, allegedly with the church and the members and how many people in the church were involved and who was hiring and it's a movie, you know. Yeah, it's a movie.
It'll be like Fast and Furious Part 10.
This has the makings of a very, very interesting spy thriller. The SSA on an island, on a twin island republic in the Caribbean. Netflix presents the SSA.
Oh, I have a better one.
Spy thriller. Intrigue is coming to your television screen soon. Stay tuned. Starring Richard Ragoobarsingh, Wendell Stephen, Steve Khan, and a secret operative. I can do the trailer for you. I can voice the trailer for you.
Yeah.
A small fun.
We could call the movie SSA Down.
Who were they spying on? What were they looking for? What did they find? Richard Ragoobarsingh as the Prime Minister.
As key.
But they both have the same hairstyle, so
same millimeter long.
Still, you know. Yeah, speaking of which, here he is on cue.
On cue, boy.
The SSA, starring Richard Ragoobarsingh as head of the National Security Council. Ricardo Samuel as retired Brigadier Anthony Spencer.
Nah, he don't act.
Steve Khan. Steve Khan as Pastor Ian Brown. SSA coming soon to Netflix.
Oh, Karen has a good one. AV as Kamala.
I'm just writing the trailer here for the SSA movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. We live in a movie, Richard.
Give me the
How make these things up?
We put you to play the Prime Minister. I hope you don't mind.
If what?
We
put you to play the Prime Minister. The lead role, you know. You're the lead, you're a lead actor, so.
Okay.
Let me see a Dr. Rowley impersonation.
No. I ain't going on that rabbit hole.
No,
you start already. You're pointing. You start pointing.
Yeah, you start pointing. There you go.
You all are always asking these questions of me, sir. And sometimes I wonder about you. You know. I had the pleasure last night of interacting with. I tell you, it warmed my heart because I was asked to deliver about 30 young women about they were learning about parliamentary debate, young women, and how to my part was how to get credible sources, you know, and how to identify sources that are credible and how to put together. Senator Anthony Vera, senior counsel, was also there. He did a session on mind mapping, and it was organized by the parliament, and it was really amazing. Christine Waller Hussein was there. former Minister Karen Sipasad Bachan coordinated it. I don't want to miss it. A couple of other past ministers were there. But you know who was there? And I had the opportunity to interface with her in one of the breakout groups. And it was such a, I mean, it warmed my heart. Hazel Manning. And it was such a great time because she and I were kind of supervisors for one of the breakout groups. So we were guiding them through the process of an assignment. And it was such a wonderful experience. And her spirit and her enthusiasm was just out of this world. So it kind of made my night. It made my evening. Yeah. So good morning to Mrs. Hazel Manning, and thank you for that interface last night.
Yeah. People don't understand when you get to know Mrs. Hazel Manning. She's such a lovely lady.
She was so gracious and so
we have worked closely together. Yeah, closely together here in the studios, in the production studios, and you know, we used to talk. We used to sit down at least 3 hours a week when it come to do work here, and you know, getting to know her. She's such a lovely
gem,
lady,
and it was such a great experience.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
such a lovely lady. You know,
I was like finding out. You know, I was just like, well, gaga goo and kind of stupid. Anyway. Thank you, Mrs. Manning. Back to the news.
You're a little choppy this morning, Paul. Are you out the country?
Maybe he's fine. He's fine to me. I have no problems with him here.
I'm seeing you clearly, Paul, Steve, but Paul is coming across.
You see clearly now.
My old workplace was in the news last night.
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that last week, but
I heard about it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw it. No, I saw that on news as a news item last night. And
my old workplace made the news, but I'm not surprised. Actually, I am surprised, but I know how media houses operate in terms of competition. So, my old workplace, and I've been hearing about this drama for about 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. I only heard about it last time.
With Trinidad and Tobago Radio Network, the place where I spent 19 years, 96 WFM. The network contains 96 WFM, Star 94.7, and 107.7. And the fact that they are reportedly owing the Board of Inland Revenue $34 million in unpaid taxes
from the period
of interest for the period 2015, according to the Guardian report this morning, to 2024, and the CNC3 report last night. I know they had a staff meeting last week, Wednesday, because I have several friends still working there, where the managing director, Mr.
From what period to what period?
According to the Guardian report and the CNC3 report, 2015 to 2024.
But can't inland revenue only go back 6 years?
Well, I don't know what the circumstances of how they go back.
I don't know about that.
But this is what was reported. Maybe they had been current up to that period. I don't know. You understand?
Oh, okay.
You know, that's what the report says, in unpaid taxes to BIR. And Mr. Chandler held a meeting with his staff last week, and it was because the information was out there among staff.
It was out.
If I had gotten it, I know it was out there. So CNC3 broke the story in mainstream media last night, and in his meeting, he told the staff, well, he's working with BIR to resolve the issue and initiate a payment plan to bring to current the reportedly unpaid taxes. And he said the reason was, of course, COVID-19 and advertisers not paying what they owed the company. Well, all media houses have what we call accounts receivable, which you have to manage very carefully.
You can't slip with that.
There was another reason that I know he gave in his staff meeting that wasn't broadcast, which I shall not broadcast because it's not my business to broadcast. But it's not. It's a sensitive issue, and I don't want to cross lines, But I have a lot of friends working there, so I hope they resolve it and the company becomes stabilized. Because I know they have 80 employees, and my concern is that people remain employed. You understand? And maybe a competing media house, but I have a lot of friends and colleagues working there, and I want it to be resolved so that people can keep their jobs and continue taking care of their families. So I don't know.
Yeah, so hopefully they work it out, and hopefully that whatever payment plan works out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and getting it back on, an even keel, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly, because people's jobs are involved, and you want them to continue having the ability to take care of their families. Yes,
Absolutely.
Keith Bissess, I saw that picture too, which I will not comment on.
What picture is that? Because you just commented on it.
Good morning and congratulations to my friend.
No, but there was more to that, Paul, for what I understand.
Jackie Sampson Miguel is now the Ombudsman of Trinidad and Tobago. Congrats, Jackie. I thought you said you went into retirement. I told her there was a function for the Parliament when she retired, Mrs. Sampson Miguel, that is, which was attended by the President, Her Excellency, the Prime Minister, the Opposition Leader, and several ministers and MPs and people from across the region and the hemisphere. I had the opportunity to be the host for that meeting. And I told her at the end, I said, you ain't going into retirement. They're going to find something for you to do. You understand? And subsequent to that, she's on the Constitutional Reform Committee, and then now this. You ain't going to rest no time, Jackie. Come on, too much experience and expertise is reposed with you to just go and relax and farm. Come on, Jackie. And she's a wonderful farmer too, because she and her husband, they have a farm, and she brings melons and home and organic chicken and stuff like that. So I don't know how you're going to deal with the farm on this new work, but congratulations, Jackie.
Yeah, congratulations there.
Yeah. So did you see Ragoobarsingh that there were 3 charges laid against 3 people that reportedly in the SS, the formerly of the SSA?
I know they had released a few of them. Was Major Best one of those that was released?
Yes, as far as I understand.
Yeah, as far as I understood myself.
And he was not charged.
Yeah.
Right? So
he was fired.
People who were charged.
He was fired, wasn't he?
He was fired on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which is even more ominous to me,
So they charged 3 of them for do you know exactly what the charges are?
I think I can stand corrected. It's something along the lines of misbehavior in public office, but my understanding from an attorney at law is that misbehavior in public office, a misbehavior in public office charge must be accompanied by another charge that substantiates the misbehavior in public office. So you can't just charge according to what the attorney told me. You can't just charge with misbehavior in public office. There must be another charge.
As a standalone charge.
Alongside a misbehavior in public office charge to make it work. You understand?
Yeah.
But according to the news report, it had to do with some illegal transfer of guns or dispensation of guns.
But that was what a lot of the media stories concerning the entire SSA was about over the weekend, and that issue of transference of weapons and some level of collusion with the criminal element was inferred, and it was bizarre.
But they're also alleging and inferring some association with a murder or with a hit. You understand? There's also that in the conversation, which you don't have a lot of information on, but they're also putting that in the mix for some reason, and we do have the kind of connection and to say what we want to say because we will get in trouble. But that's also been put in the public domain through the media, you understand? Through newspaper reports. So we'll see. We will see how that goes.
Isn't it about the time that we take some calls?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, my God. And that nobody tell me nothing in the chat. And then do that jump down with truth again. Is a habit we're trying to develop, so apologies. So 222 talk, etc. When Steve comes back, he'll press the button. The phones are open. My bad. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, so 222 talk, 222-8255. North America, 866-525-1099. Absolutely toll free. We'll take some calls.
Waiting to jump down with truth.
Come back and sit down. Did you see the picture with Gary Griffith and Minister Hines on the same plane?
Who?
Minister Hines and Gary Griffith.
Who?
On the same plane.
Who?
Good. I ain't with you now. So anyway, I thought it was a very funny picture. I can imagine, but it's just saying, you know, let me just keep quiet. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, actually, I'm now seeing somebody here mentioning it. Keith Possessor saying, I saw a photo of Gary Griffith and Minister Hines on the same flight together, sitting on opposite sides of the aisle at Keranyapong. Judge J spoke of his time working with you on Sunday. I wonder what he had to say about you, Paul. Cheryl, do you have a banker for Kamala? She has not been in power for 9 years. Please, I'm not so sure what
that is the normal political chat. See, we open the phone lines. That is the normal political bantering that goes on. But
there's a back and forth that goes on in the chat.
Oh yeah. You know the normal, which is once it's respectful, I have no problem with it. You know, people have the voice. We like the chat. The chat is a great part of the interaction.
Yeah, Steve, we're waiting for you to take the calls. We open the lines.
Yeah, I just got a guest for 7:15, so just organizing here.
Miss Jackson told me that she's on the way to a foreign jurisdiction, and she will confirm when she can be with us later today. That's Miss Kizelle Jackson on her new political party. So the phone lines are open.
Yeah, we have a call already. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Buenos días, mi amor.
Morning, Zina.
Good morning. Hear what? You see, that at least you reviewed what Professor Ora had to say. You realize that this flu came from Asia. I thought you didn't hear nothing about Asia yesterday.
You said all the things came. He said a particular Asian flu. It's different.
That about all.
Okay? Right. That's what I was correcting. It was not all. You said all. I challenged that.
You should have corrected that yesterday with me. You should have corrected
when I see you Friday.
Not all. He said that flu.
I will correct it when I see you Friday.
But Steve,
you know what they say, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Steve has to be very watchful of that, you know, because he said it's affecting cows and cats, and it has jumped into cats. So you know you like those felines.
Well, I like all animals.
But you love your cats.
Well, I'm a dog lover, but I have 6 cats.
Well, you see what I mean?
And Paul, you have one.
Cat? Paul. Does Paul have cats and dogs?
Dogs.
I have 2 dogs, and you have 1 cat.
I asked you about you.
What is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine.
Gentlemen, probably later on.
Good morning.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Zina.
Thanks, Zina.
Bye.
Good morning. Paul, check your phone.
I saw it, thanks.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Patos.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Yesterday I was up in a reminder funeral. I see all the big men, man. Bali Maraj, Fish, Julian Morris, this one, everybody, boy. They rallying the troops. Election, boy. Yeah, man. That was a huge funeral, boy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge funeral.
That's for the Dale
police officer.
Yeah. I told you it would be a huge funeral because they were very popular in Arima.
All Arima come out and
Dale Myers.
The racing people come out. Everybody come out to that funeral. It was a big funeral. It was a carnival kind of funeral here.
Really?
Yeah, man. All right. The Bailey's bar. The block off the whole road.
Yeah.
Police.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah.
All the best.
For those of you not joining, there was a huge vigil last night for Anisha Hussein, and this is some video from that, praying for her safe return and for her family and showing solidarity in St. Joseph. Ragoobarsingh, you have papers?
Yes, I do.
Could you share them with us? I sent you 2 potential questions last night. I don't know what you thought.
Oh, I saw them, yes.
So I don't forget them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, if I send it to somebody, I wouldn't forget.
Yep. I do that sometimes. I just send it to myself.
I send stuff to myself.
But I killed 2 birds with one stone. You could have told me also if you thought they were appropriate.
Yeah, I think they are. Anyway, let me start with the newspapers. Trinidad and Tobago Newsday for today. Mom of murdered cop. I hold no bitterness. That's the main headline. I hold no bitterness. The main picture is that of what we were just seeing there of the vigil that was held yesterday. Hundreds of people turned out for a candlelight vigil praying for the safe return of kidnapped victim Anisha Hussein in St. Joseph on Monday night. No sign of kidnapped victim Anisha. That's on the front page of the Newsday. You know, it's one of those horrible stories that has captivated the country.
Yes, another one.
So, on the back page of the Newsday, TT coach calls West Indies power hitter a very important plug in the wheel. World Cup glory lies with Puran. And market TTPFL champs AC Port of Spain take nothing for granted. So that's the front and the back page of the Newsday. Moving on to the Express. For today, on the front page of the Express, the headline, prayers for Anisha. Enough. Citizens hold vigil for safe return of kidnapped businessman's daughter. And there are also a picture of the vigil held yesterday. Well-wishers, residents of Akono Road, Maracay, St. Joseph, and well-wishers display candle lanterns last night as they take part in a candlelight vigil from Akono Junction to Green Hill for Anisha Hussain, the daughter of the owner of Source Doubles, who was kidnapped in El Dorado on Saturday morning. Is she the daughter of Source Doubles or Source and Sons? I'm not sure. But anyway, ministers horrified by crime. That's a sub-headline. And loving send-off for slain cop. And on the back page of the Daily Express, historic occasion, West Indies men's T20 eyes to feature alongside WCPL matches. That's the front and the back of the Express. Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. Front page. Free Anisha is the headline. Vigil for doubles vendors. Daughter draws crowd. Gathering urges abductors to release her now. Says they are fed up with crime wave stifling TNT. And so they have pictures. Participant David Sinanan sheds tears during candlelight vigil. Participants in the candlelight vigil for kidnapped victim Anisha Hussain Singh from Akodo Junction, St. Joseph last night, and there is a picture of the multitude of people walking. Radio station owner Chinese Laundry owes BIR $34 million. That's also on the front page as a subheadline. On the back page, Ned leads Pan Am team. That's back page, and that's basically it for our 3 dailies this morning in TNT on this Tuesday, May 21st, 2024.
All right. Thank you so much, Rich. I'll close out. Sorry.
I would like to congratulate Trinidad architect and poet Fazia Muradali Kane, who was named the 2nd prize winner in Britain's national poetry competition for her poem called Eric. The poem was selected from 19,000 poems from 8,841 poets in 110 countries, and she placed 2nd. So congratulations to her. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, let's get the results of our poll from yesterday, where we asked you, do you think, I can't remember the poll. Pull it up here. Oh, Shane didn't do that. Okay, but the poll, I got the results, but the poll was, do you support, do you would like to see air support regarding with the helicopters to fight crime? That was our poll yesterday. And the results I'll give you right after this.
Shop Mega Mattress Deal for Mom at Furniture Plus. Get queen mattresses starting from just $699, plus up to 25% discount on bedding accessories. Hurry in today for these mega deals. Check the press and social media for details.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready as we move towards a healthy lifestyle change. The Ministry of Health will be conducting a national health survey called the STEP Survey 2024 to gather information from households across Trinidad and Tobago on lifestyle practices that impact your health. Staff conducting the interview will visit your home with a Ministry of Health ID and clothing with ministry branding. All information collected will be kept confidential. So support us today as we take steps to improving the health of all. The STEP Survey 2024. Visit the Ministry of Health's website and social media pages for more information. This message brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Whether wet or dry season, hazards can strike without warning, causing you or your family to quickly evacuate. You may not have the time to grab the essentials. Be sure to have your grab-and-go bag in easily accessible locations. Here are the top 7 categories that should be included and tailored to your family's need. 1. Non-perishable food items, water, and utensils. 2. First aid kit and extra medication. 3. Personalized items. 4. Change of clothing and comfortable footwear. 5. Copies of important documents such as birth papers and certificates. 6. Cash and small bills. And 7. Tools, safety items, and equipment. For more information on how to be ready, visit odpm.gov.tt. A message from the ODPM.
All right, good morning, ODPM. Of course, once again, would you like to see air support regarding the helicopters in the fight against crime? 99%, 99 said yes. All right.
I just wanted to touch on a breaking news item. One person is dead and others injured after severe turbulence. It's a Singapore Airlines flight.
Wow.
Isn't that incredulous?
Yeah.
That turbulence, which, usually pilots tell you, they are not afraid of turbulence. And you shouldn't be worried about turbulence because, passengers usually get worried about turbulence.
I don't like it.
And severe turbulence has caused the death and others injured on a Singapore Airlines flight. That's a breaking news headline.
That's
around the planet right now.
That's why when I sit in an aircraft, I see once I'm in that seatbelt is on tightly.
So I have 2 potential questions this morning.
All right, let's see them, Paul. Let's see them.
One is, should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago? And 2 is, I think Justice Frank C. Prasad indicated here, I saw a newspaper report where he's suggesting that police officers be charged for not attending court matters in which they're involved, I guess as witnesses or whatever.
Charged.
Because they have a lot of instances where cases are put up because officers just don't appear.
Mm-hmm.
It happened with me with a traffic ticket many years ago already, and the judge, the magistrate, threw out the case.
Yeah, same here.
So, which one would you like, or would you have a different question you'd like to
I like the police question.
offer? Ragoobarsingh?
I mean, either one is fine. The first one was what?
Should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police? I think the Prime Minister indicated the government must be involved. Because someone.
Well, I know Ramesh Diosharan. He was a former head of the Police Service Commission. Am I right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right, and I think he weighed in on that last night, and he was saying that. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not completely sure because I saw.
We'll get him before the end of the week. I spoke to him yesterday.
But he said that he thinks it should be that the Prime Minister could have a veto, but that they shouldn't necessarily be involved. But that's where the power lies.
All right.
I'm
Well, let's get
that question, Paul. But yeah, I find that's an interesting question.
all right.
Policeman is an interesting question too, but I prefer the police question about. I mean, sorry, not the police question. A question of whether the government should be involved in the selection of a commissioner.
There you go. The question is up.
All right. Go ahead, Richard.
So, should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our question this morning. Of course, usually it has to go to Parliament and Parliament votes and stuff. So, should the government be involved in the appointment of a COP in TNT? What's your opinion? Should
Because
they
the
be
government has the
involved?
final say in Parliament, huh?
Yes. Should they be involved? Yes or no? 222 talk 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099. And of course, people on the web and the app and streaming services, you can send your vote via the messaging portal there. People on television watching us on cable, WhatsApp us at 868-318-1021.
All right. We just want yes or no, and where are you calling us from? Good morning.
Well, I say hell yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. Trevor Narima says yes. I've got, if you're WhatsApping me, just put your name towards it. Roger Seawing says no to the poll. Sankofa says no, they should not. All right, let's see. Got some votes here. Mrs. R says yes. Joe Sam says no. Ian Lee, wherever in the world you are, says yes. Boy Badesi, no. David Wares, no. Michael Robinson in Yokohama, Japan, no. DDL. Slick Money Grip, yes. John Cato, no. Lester Craigwell says no. What says you, caller?
Good morning, gentlemen. For St. Lucie, my answer is no.
Righty-o, thank you. Let's see. I have Kazim Mohammed is saying yes. Lincoln, yes. Lenny James says yes. I did Lester Craigwell. Andrew Renu says no. Keith Bisasa, yes. Hector, no. Julia S. Batiste, no. Okay, yeah. All right. Should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? We have a minute and a half to vote again before we get into our major news. He is already in the office working feverishly to get our news ready.
So 222 talk 222-8255. North Americans 866-525-1099.
Brent Hackshaw says
apps and streaming. Send a message via the portal there.
Brent Hackshaw says no. Anyhow, Miguel says no. Carol Guevara, yes. Vernon Manswell. Hello, Vernon. Yes. All right. Let's see. We've got Cascade St. Anne saying no. We have CMJ out in Baghdad. My answer is no. And I have somebody else here. Jaron Joseph. Jaron Joseph says no. Okay. Less than a minute to vote. Of course, our poll is going to stay up on our website and our mobile app, which you should have by now till tomorrow morning and give you final results. Should the government be involved in the appointment of a COP in TNT? Yes or no? All right.
Coming up after the news, Steve. Coming up after the news, we'll have as our guest, Steve.
Oh, Wayne Meister, sorry. ACP specializing in support, Wayne Meister.
Thank you. Took a while there.
Did you have a lot of votes coming on the thing there up to where you had Vernon Manswell?
Yes, I did. Donna Clark says yes. Terrence LaCroix says yes. Tone Luke, no way. Yeah, all right. And that, oops, I have a couple on WhatsApp here. Let's see. I have Kenwin saying no. I have Lorna saying no. Morning, Lorna. Morning, Indy. Carly. All right, gentlemen, let's get into our major news at this time. It's exactly 7 o'clock on this, the 21st day of May. Of course, news with Avril St. Hill Bab starts now.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
3 former members of the Strategic Services Agency are charged with misbehavior in public office. The Children's Authority investigates reports of abuse at Central Children's Home. The accounts of the TNT Radio Network, the parent company of radio stations 96.1 WFM, Star 94.7 and 107 Music for Life, garnished by the state. Hundreds turn out to vigil for kidnapped victim Anisha Hossain and murdered police constable Dale Myers, remembered for his bravery. Details in a moment.
Your 7 a.m. news is being brought to you courtesy Genesco Appliances. Experience innovation and inverted technologies refrigerators designed to slash your electricity bills at Genesco Appliances Limited. Discover the versatility of a dual function chest freezers, switchable between refrigeration or freezer mode. Available in 5 and 7 cubic feet. Don't miss their unbeatable offer on the 13 kg twin tub washers, and for the aspiring chef, the 30-inch 5-burner gas stove with built-in rotisserie oven awaits. These specials won't last, so check out Genesco Appliances on Facebook and Instagram or call 351-7777. Genesco Appliances are available nationwide.
And this is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril St. Hill Bab. Good morning. 3 former members of the Strategic Services Agency were charged with misbehavior in public office last night. Police confirmed that dismissed former director Major Roger Bast was not charged, as investigations into allegations of misconduct against him are ongoing. However, Bast's religious advisor, self-professed spy, Pastor Ian Brown, along with Portel Griffith, a former security advisor, and Sergeant Sherwin Waldron, a tactical operations officer, were reportedly charged. The men, along with Bast, were arrested last week before they were released on the weekend. In March, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley advised that Bast would be sent on administrative leave before appointing former U.S. Ambassador, retired Brigadier General Anthony Philip Spencer, to take over the agency. Philip Spencer is still undertaking a probe of the SSA's operations. Major Bast was fired on Saturday, 3 days after he and the 3 others were arrested and questioned in relation to state-issued firearms. The Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago is providing psychosocial support and medical care to a minor following media reports of alleged abuses against other children at a children's home in central Trinidad. The authority explains it is working closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to determine all the facts. It says this support and care will continue. The authority has also taken steps to safeguard the children in this matter, adding it takes seriously all reports of abuse involving children in care and will continue to ensure that such reports are thoroughly investigated. However, it says there is need to maintain the safety and confidentiality of the personal details of children in the matter. As such, the authority will not divulge any details of the child's case. The authority also takes the opportunity to remind the public of the protocols and laws governing the rights of the child and their privacy when making public statements, especially where these statements have not been officially corroborated. Doubles vendor Anisha Hossain remains missing after she was abducted outside of the popular Source Doubles outlet in El Dorado on May 18th. Family, neighbors, and other white-clad well-wishers lit Okono Road, St. Joseph on Monday night at a candlelight vigil for the kidnapped victim. A crowd of several hundred, led by a man holding a TNT flag, gathered at Okono Junction, St. Joseph on Monday night near her home. The march was organized by St. Joseph residents. Hosine, 27, was preparing to open the outlet when she was forced into a silver Nissan B15 by three masked men with guns. Her husband, Rishi Singh, was grazed on his face by a bullet as the gunmen fired several shots before driving off. The family and officials close to the case have been tight-lipped about the kidnapping. However, investigations and the search continues for the kidnapped victim by the TDPS. One of the colleagues of late police officer Dale Myers is asking the public to remember him for the professional way he carried out his duties. Constable Myers was shot and killed recently in Chaguanas. Reports say that he was at the time at a bar along Montrose Main Road in the company of his wife and a friend when he was confronted by a man armed with a gun. He died while undergoing treatment. Speaking at the military funeral for Constable Myers at the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Monday, one of Myers' colleagues recalled how his friend did his job with bravery and sacrifice, adding the family can be assured of love and support.
As members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we are all called upon to make sacrifices on a daily basis for our country, and Constable Myers has done this exceptionally throughout his career and has upheld the motto of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to protect and serve with pride. The best way to carry on Constable Myers' memories professionally is to act like how he acted, treat people fairly and with respect. To the family of the deceased, you have had a great and irreplaceable loss.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. The accounts of the TNT radio network, the parent company of radio stations 96.1 WFM, Star 94.7 and 107.7 Music for Life, jointly owned by Anthony Chinese Laundry Chow Linon, have been garnished by the state. Chow Linon is the managing director of TTRN, which owes $34 million to the Board of Inland Revenue for unpaid taxes. However, that sum is exclusive of interest on the debt for the period 2015 to 2024. According to the BIR letter, the accounts were seized on April 25th. At a staff meeting last Wednesday, Chow Linon said that he was hoping to have the matter resolved by way of a payment plan to the state by the end of the month. He said the station's business model was adversely affected by the COVID pandemic and had not sufficiently recovered. This was further compounded by the failure of advertising agencies to pay sums owed to the station on time. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago mainly fair and breezy despite a few light to moderate showery interruptions. There's a low chance of the heavier shower near hilly areas, mostly fair night with a gentle breeze. You can look out for a temperature high of 34 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 28 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, 3 former members of the Strategic Services Agency charged with misbehavior in public office. Children's Authority investigate reports of abuse at Central Children's Home. The accounts of TNT Radio Network, the parent company for radio station 96.1 WFM, garnished by the state. Hundreds turned out to vigil for kidnapped victim Anisha Hosine and murdered police constable Dale Myers remembered for his bravery. I'm Avril Sintilbab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Experience innovation and inverted technologies refrigerators designed to slash your electricity bills at Genesco Appliances Limited. Discover the versatility of your dual-function chest freezers, switchable between refrigeration or freezer mode. Available in 5 and 7 cubic feet. Don't miss this unbeatable offer on a 13 kg twin-tub washers and for aspiring chefs, 30-inch 5-burner gas stove with a built-in rotisserie oven awaits. These specials won't last, so check out Genesco Appliances on Facebook and Instagram or call 351-7777. Genesco Appliances are available nationwide.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you, Avi, for your major news. Of course, you can join Avi again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. Taking a look at what's happening traffic-wise. San Fernando, usual routes, not as heavy as it usually is, but you got some traffic there. Rivulet Road, you're heavy. You're going to pick up traffic just after Freeport, passing through Chase Village. And, of course, leaving Sugar Guanas from Chin Chin Road, heading into Ibis Gardens, you've got some traffic carrying a roundabout towards Kirep, Charlieville, towards the interchange. Leaving Grande, Valencia Stretch, going to Santa Rosa, Piarco de Yui, Kirep, the Port of Spain, Eastern Main Road, lighter after Mount Hope. And, of course, Maraval and Dago, you're heavy. All right. Okay, so let's see if we have any more votes here, gentlemen, before I call. It's a call. ACP Wayne Meister. I did Tone Look. Royalty Forever says no to the poll. Let's see. Right, that's the only one on Facebook and YouTube. Let me just quickly check WhatsApp. Kenwin says no. All right, so that's all our votes. All right, so let's get the results. Okie dokie. Should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago? That's our poll. It will stay up until tomorrow morning, where I'll give you the final results. What we got for you, Rich? What you got for us, Richard? Okay.
He's still in his little room, locked away.
I have no idea. No idea.
Okay.
I don't know what to say. Maybe I have an ad to read here, so maybe I could do that. A message from the ODPM, the Office of the Disaster Preparedness and Management. May is National Disaster Prevention and Preparedness Month. Get prepared by knowing your risks, make a plan, and putting together your emergency supplies. Message courtesy the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, ODPM. Just to let you know as well, hurricane season starts on the 1st of June, 10 days from today. All right, so be prepared. Just be prepared. He's not back yet, so he's throwing off our time.
Well, just call the ACP.
Yeah, I'm going to do it now. Let me just get through some ads here. This one is from the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. J is for just in case. It's better to be safe than sorry. An emergency fund is important as unforeseen circumstances can arise at any time. Set aside at least 3 months of income to ensure that you have sufficient savings for a rainy day. That message courtesy the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. All right. So let me get ACP online. And we will chat with him when whenever he comes in, we'll chat with him. All right. So let's get into it.
I am right here.
Really? You went there recording just now, though.
So the last person I got was Royalty Forever. Were there any votes after Royalty Forever? No.
Yeah, Kenwin said no.
Kenwin. Okay. All right. So we had just now, we had 35 people voting on the poll this morning in the allotted time. And of the 35 people voting on the poll, and of course the poll was, should the government be involved in the appointment of a commissioner of police in Trinidad and Tobago? Of the 35 people voting, 22 of you said no, the government should not be involved. 13 of you said yes. At points it was pretty competitive, but then
so I have one question based on that. So the majority said no, right?
Say what again?
The majority said no, right?
The majority said no.
So when and if the commissioner doesn't perform and crime goes run away, you're going to hold the government accountable?
You're asking the no's?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You'll absolve the government if the commission is not performing, right? Since you said no.
Well, to me, the state is the one who's giving the money, and the state is also part of the national security infrastructure. It's not just the TTPS.
Right. So the government has no say in the appointment of a commissioner.
But the government does have a say in terms of the resources it gives to the TTPS.
So yeah, and they give the resources, and the commissioner does what he or she wants and performs and the government has no choice in it. So at that point, get hands off. You have to leave the government alone.
No, because the Police Service Commission is the one who's supposed to hold, according to our current construct.
Just asking for a friend.
All right.
The Police Service Commission is the one who has to hold him or her accountable for their ability to do the job or not.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I do have online ECP Specialized Support Wayne Meister. It's been a while. Good morning.
A pleasant morning to you and your listenership, viewership.
Yes, thank you so much, Wayne, for joining us. Of course, we have Richard Ragoobarsingh and Paul Richards this morning.
Yes, pleasant morning, Mr. Richard and Senator Richards.
Good morning. Long time no see, partner. How are you?
I'm wrong.
Well, that's good.
Glad we got permission to speak to you this morning. What is the special support in your designation mean? Just for clarity, please.
Right. So specialized support, I have the executive oversight of 5 units in the TTPS, namely the Traffic and Highway Patrol branch, the Mounted and Canine branch, the entire community policing apparatus for Trinidad and Tobago, transport branch, and the TTPS musical band. So that's the 5 units that are under my executive command.
Okay. Is there any information, and I know it's not necessarily within your remit, you can give us on the update on Anisha Hussain?
Yes, just basically what happens that having communicated with the anti-kidnapping units, they would have indicated that a ransom was there was a ransom, and there's as we speak some special negotiations going on. So that is the most I can give you right now. So we are just keeping our fingers crossed that that negotiation can work out by the family's choice. That
so we can confirm that it is a kidnapping for ransom.
It is kidnapping for ransom.
Wow.
Did they indicate if she is safe?
Right. So that is part of the negotiation that is going on. Part of the protocol is that they have to give what we call a proof of life during that negotiation. So we should have that information by this morning.
Tell me something, Wayne, with regard to the video that went viral with regard to that kidnapping. One of our callers yesterday indicated that there was a guy who was providing support with a firearm that was looking left and right, but providing the support for the kidnapping, who eventually jumped into the car. Is there anything about that kidnapping that suggests to the TTPS that these guys were well trained?
Yes, based on that particular footage and other situations we have observed in the past, that those persons are being trained to operate, when you use the word tactically and covertly. So there's a level of training. So you're correct in saying that.
Is there any concern that any members of the TTPS or the Defense Force, who are the obvious trained parties in Trinidad and Tobago in tactical strategy, etc., is there any concern that any members of those respective forces are involved?
Well, we can't say for sure, but definitely it's a concern. And if that is the case, then that is deeply concerning to us. Because we know in the past we had personnel from the various protective units who were probably discharged or dismissed. We don't know what they are doing at this particular time. So it will be deeply concerning to us.
ASP Meister, I don't know if you would be able to answer this question, but from where I sit, I've seen over the past couple months that there seems to have been a trend of attacking source vendors, and the family put out a statement indicating that it is not a centralized or franchised, or the various aspects are owned by various family members, cousins, brothers, sisters, etc. Had the police been monitoring these developments, because there was a shooting in South, there was a shooting and a warning in Kirap as early as last Saturday, and it seemed that source vendors outlets had been the subject of targeting by the criminal element.
Yes, definitely there's a trend. Yes, the TTPS, they are paying attention to that particular trend. They could put some pieces together, because it's not business as usual, so to speak. So there is a trend.
Had they asked for protection at all?
Not to my knowledge.
How can the public help in this, if at all, in this scenario, to try to get this young woman back safely?
Well, I've been advising, but I have what you call a safety series that is taking place on I actually put the content on TikTok. So it's a safety series which entitles Safety is Everybody's Business. And some of the things that I advise members of the public, and it will be applicable to this scenario, is that if you see something, say something, but we understand that persons they want to be anonymous, and we understand that. So the 800 tips number, that number can be utilized. That Crime Stoppers number is very useful. They are not interested in the person's identity, just the information. So if we have members of the public who, there's no such thing as what you call a perfect crime. Somebody must see something or hear something, and we need them to give us that information urgently, anonymously, 800 tips. And once we have that information, we're going to act on it swiftly. So that's one of the advice to members of the public.
Members of the chat are expressing concern that even a discussion like this may put the victim in more danger. Is that something of concern to you?
No, well, the thing about it is that with the advent of social media, nothing is really private anymore. Social media has exploded. Persons are making their comments. So this discussion here is not too different, and not much information is being given out technically. So it is what it is.
Would you be able to share how much the ransom demand was for, or is that too sensitive information?
Yes, that at this time, no, I wouldn't be able to.
You indicated that part of your purview is dealing with community policing, correct?
Correct.
How much of that relationship building within communities by the TTPS is leading to the public trusting the police more? Because we're all aware that the police has a public trust and confidence issue. It's been documented many times, and I guess building stronger ties with communities can help to deal with that. Is that part of your mandate? How is that working?
Yes, it is. What we would observe is that communities, and when somebody talk about communities, they think it's a big area. Some of them are communities, there's a street. There's a street with just 10 houses, as the case may be. But what we observe is that communities with strong networks, and that make themselves and their premises and their area a hard target. It is less targeted by criminals. If you want to use, the whole aspect of the home invasion and so on. So I'll give you an example, like the Mount Lambert community. We have been doing some work with that community. They have partnered with us, and they have a very, very, very strong network where they are well coordinated. Everyone, there's eyes. They look out for each other and so on. And then when we look at other communities that are disorganized, everyone is for themselves and so on, and there's no structure, the criminals actually target those areas because the criminals do their research also. So they move into areas and they observe that this area, everyone is for themselves and so on. So we are calling on members of the community to continue to partner with us. They may not know how to set up a proper communication network. We know how to. So I advise persons, even on yesterday's date, to go to the closest station in the district, have to speak to the community policing representatives, and they'll be too willing to set up that particular network that will make their areas a hard area, a target area. Criminals don't like what we call the shine up. They don't like when areas are organized and everyone is concerned about who's in the area and strange cars and so on. So once we have that collaboration with the community, it works.
Part of the community is, in some instances, there's an intersect between residential areas and some business concerns. A couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, we would have heard about the Tunapuna area business community coming together and providing support to the TTPS in terms of CCTV cameras. Subsequent to that, we also heard about criminals putting up CCTV cameras. How involved are your units in terms of liaising with business communities to have access to those CCTV cameras as part of your network to gather information and/or evidence?
Yeah, well, that's ongoing. So you gave a good example of the Tunapuna area. I know when I was the assistant commissioner in area Northeast, we would have planted the seed. That's sometime around January, February last year, and the business community would have been partnering with the police, and we will have those particular cameras with a feed going back to our operational command center so that we can monitor. So the more cameras, more eyes that we have, and it's better. So that's something that we collaborate with members of the business community on a regular basis.
Going back to the public trust and confidence, is there a particular protocol for police to update the public on the status of ongoing investigations? Because, I mean, one of the issues that the public shares with us very often is that there's so much happening on the crime front, and I know the police are under a lot of pressure in terms of the demand on their resources and the ability to keep up with keeping the criminals in check. But one of the issues that is shared with us very often is the public doesn't seem to get a sense of regular updates on ongoing investigations, even with some sensitivities considered. Is that something the police is focused on?
Senator, that's a very witty question. I want to tell you. But you're correct. Communication, definitely with the public, it fosters great confidence, because definitely I, being a member of the public, who want to hear what's taking place, and especially in the area of the crime front, where the TTPS has a responsibility to provide security and safety. And definitely, so for example, like if you make a report and there's an investigation going on, of course you want to get feedback from the police as to what is the status of the investigation and so on. So communication, I would say, in a nutshell, is very and extremely important.
Well, I agree with that, but I'm talking about, even if my family may not be involved, I think there are some situations that arise. For example, this case with this young woman who has been kidnapped, and the public is concerned because it's become a national issue now. And one of the things that people can help to build confidence and even participate in the process of getting her back safely is the issue of, and I'm talking about this case alone, but this is just an example I'm using, is the issue of even after it's resolved, hopefully safely, the police being able to share with the public how they were successful and build that confidence for future collaboration with it. Because we all collaboration with the service, because we all know the police can't do it on their own. The public involvement is critical in the police successfully executing their duties.
Yes, yeah, and you're absolutely correct. And it's important, especially when we have national issues. So, for example, if we give safety tips on, let's say, kidnapping and home invasions, that is what we call a national communication to the entire population to be aware of their surroundings and different things. So that national communication is extremely, extremely important. So I agree with you 100%.
There was a time when there were, kidnappings and stuff that were rampant in Trinidad and Tobago, and the TTPS, one of its agencies, I think it was, what was it called then? Was it SORT? That got a handle on it, and really it was a kind of dramatic success by the security services in getting it under control. So one would believe that there would still be a lot of these operational systems in place to deal with kidnappings. And connected to all of that, ACP Meister, is the issue of how robust is our CCTV network. I know the state has said that they were investing in putting in new CCTV cameras. How much of that can you share with us is currently active and working? Because a lot of the times when we're commenting on situations like that kidnapping of Anisha Hussain, we think of, well, there's CCTV cameras following where the car is going. How soon did the 999 call come into the TTPS? How much, were they monitoring where the vehicle went? What is their capacity to monitor? Those kinds of issues come up.
Yes, and there is a framework. There is a group of persons, a team that is responsible for all the protocols as it relates to kidnapping and other offenses. And as it relates to the CCTV, there is the whole framework. But if you ask me if it can be improved immensely, I will say yes, because there are certain things that we need to have. So, for example, we depend the majority of times on persons with cameras in their homes. As a matter of fact, we have seen a high rise of persons installing personal cameras on their premises, and those, from that point of view, we would have been assisted immensely in terms of getting information for our investigations. But as it relates to, from the state's point of view, yes, there is room for improvement to increase the capacity for those CCTV cameras.
So there's no, anyway, maybe that's, I hear you. The main idea you're telling me that it can be improved means, of course, there are deficiencies in the system and the ability to back up the TTPS intel at this point. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, I'm saying here, there's room for improvement, yes.
What is the greatest challenge facing officers when they're doing their duty now on a general basis?
Well, I could tell you, as a matter of fact, one of the main issues we are facing is, and sometimes we can say quite understandably so, is when we do our investigations and we have persons put before the courts. Now we know how the system works. There must be evidence to present in court, and evidence comes in all different fashions, whether it's direct evidence, whether it's statements from witnesses. And one of the challenges is witnesses, they start off in an investigation and then eventually they will pull away from the investigation, and their statements and evidence towards a particular matter is critical as a victim or witness. So we have matters that may crumble before it even goes to court, or while during the court matter, we have that matter probably being dismissed because probably the main witness decide that, you know what, I am afraid I'm not going forward anymore. So that is a major challenge, because persons, quite rightfully so, may be in fear of their lives and so on. And then the other challenge is, after painstaking inquiries, the police service, persons are brought before the court on a daily basis. You'll be surprised to know how many matters are before the court. And then it is so heartbreaking that sometimes persons are brought before the court for allegedly heinous crimes. So let us look, for example, firearm-related offenses. And there's the aspect of bail. So once person goes into the system, they come back out. And they're not coming back out to try to convert persons to turn to Christianity. They come back out even in a bigger and a better way to continue to commit crimes. So that revolving door is a main challenge for us.
In terms of the evidence you spoke about there, a couple of months ago, Master of the Courts, Christiane Morris Allen, came and one of the suggestions or recommendations she had on behalf of the judiciary is that police depend less on eyewitness reports because of their unreliability. And in some cases, as you said, witnesses no longer want to go forward because of fear for their lives, and to depend more on forensic evidence, including video footage. Is that something the police is championing more? And that brings to mind, of course, the issue of body cameras and how the police are dealing with those.
Yeah, definitely that's an alternative, but we have to appreciate the fact that sometimes that all we have is the eyewitness in a particular crime, and that is all that is present at that particular time for us to actually, move swiftly. So it can go both ways, but we have numerous cases where we have eyewitnesses. They are the main source of vehicle for the evidence, and unfortunately it goes a particular way. Well, of course, the aspect of body cameras is important because body cameras gives us that ability to, to create the side of the police, because we have members of the public that will be videotaping the police, and this gives us an opportunity now to show the public that, okay, yes, we have our side of the story, that this is what happened. So video camera footage is also an important factor.
But that's in principle. From where I sit, and this is just my opinion, I don't get a sense that the police leadership and or rank and file have embraced body cams and their consistent use in the way that they should have. There seems to me, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong, to have been some level of resistance. Would that be something you'd like to comment on?
No, what I can tell you for sure is that it is mandatory. The instructions were given by the Commissioner of Police that the operational units that are outside, the officers that are outside, and they have been mandated to have their body cameras, wear the body cameras and have it on during all situations. So I know from the administrative point of view, the instructions have been given.
Over the weekend, I saw quite a number of traffic accidents. Are there reports that traffic accidents, vehicular accidents, are on the rise, or is just probably just an anomaly this weekend?
Yeah, it is. When you look back at the trends, I've been once a former senior superintendent in the traffic branch. There are certain times of the year that there's some spikes. So just recently we had a spike, and when I compare the stats for last year, around that same time, we had those similar issues. So, but I can tell you from over since the start, we were looking at some stats from 2008 to recent, and I don't know if persons will remember that when I checked back the road fatalities in 2008, it was something like 250, and gradually that figure was reduced to 97 in 2022, 98 in 2023, which is the lowest recorded fatalities probably in our recorded history. So there is that is something positive, that road fatalities is on a downward trend. I mean, one death is still too much, but we are trying our best to see if we could carry it further down. But there have been drastic improvements as it relates to our law enforcement and traffic enforcement.
Can you give us any update on the progress of the investigations, sensitivities considered on the shootings at Harp Place and Cocoreet?
Unfortunately, at this time, I'm unable to give any recent updates, other than the matter is still being investigated.
One of the issues that some persons have proffered, some criminologists actually, is that there is an added involvement now in terms of the criminal dynamic in Trinidad and Tobago of Venezuelan criminals and criminals from across the region. Can you comment on that? Is that something in terms of trends that you're seeing?
Well, what I can tell you is that we have persons from our neighboring countries. They are before the courts. So definitely, we have persons that are involved in criminal activities. To the extent that is still being worked out, but we know for sure that persons are involved in criminal activities from our neighboring countries.
And in terms of the one of the issues that arose, I know last year in particular, that we'd seen a lot of progress made by the TTPS in terms of dealing with trafficking in humans, with particularly young women from South American continent being lured here under false pretenses and put into trafficking and prostitution. Is that something that the police is still keeping their eye on and are seeing a trend in terms of that being either continuing to be exploited by the criminals, or have the efforts of the police borne fruit in terms of dealing with that more effectively?
Yes, the last part of your statement is correct. Our counter trafficking unit is quite vibrant, and they are monitoring a lot of situations. I think what we have now on a regular basis, we have cases of persons that maybe pop up missing because we have special protocols. There's no waiting time. If somebody comes to report that someone is missing, so immediately as that person is reported allegedly missing, then the protocols are activated from the anti-kidnapping unit, from the counter-trafficking unit. And we have numerous occasions where persons run away from home, and they are found in different locations with elderly men, because most of the persons are females. So there are instances like that, and I'm almost certain that there are other instances where we may not be able to put our hands on at present because we are still looking at those situations. One or two persons are still missing, and we are still looking for leads and monitoring those situations. So yeah, that's a response to that.
What I haven't seen in a long while is, and I don't know what the status is, so I'm going to ask the questions, of police conducting exercises in Cedrus and some parts of the southern coast and those areas in dealing with illegal migrants coming and going into the country in pirogues and whatever else. What is the status of that? Is it that the efforts have slowed down that? Because that's not what I'm hearing. People coming and going as they want. And yes, there are persons who are registered migrants who are able to go and come because they have the documentation. But my understanding is that illegal movement of migrants between Venezuela and Trinidad continues unabated. Can we get an update on that?
I know for a fact that the senior superintendent in that area, they have numerous we call exercises geared towards restricting the movements of persons coming in from neighboring countries. So that is the most I can say on that right now. But I know for a fact that there are exercises geared towards that.
Let me put you on the spot. Can I?
You could, but yeah, go ahead.
No, because it comes from our question we asked yesterday, and I know that the commissioner, when she appeared before the JSC National Security a couple of months ago, indicated that the police had employed the use of drones in some instances. I haven't seen it in operation, to be very honest, but maybe I'm just in the wrong place and the operations are scattered. How important is that operational one? And what are the police thoughts on the use of air support in terms of dealing with situations like that, the kidnapping that occurred of Anissa Hussein on Saturday, in terms of being able to intercept the perpetrators in a more timely manner and bring the safety to the victim and citizens in general? What is the police position on that, if you can?
Well, what you mentioned that the commissioner would have mentioned that, and that is absolutely true. We have a full drone section. As a matter of fact, I was in a display when those drones were acquired, and we saw the ability of those drones, and that was really this year. So I know for a fact that the air support unit, we have an air support and coastal units. So our drones are active. They were deployed during Carnival. They were deployed during important Borough Day and other activities. Yes, air support is extremely important, but of course, sometimes the drones, they have their limitations in terms of the distance that it may be able to cover. So let's say, for example, the drone is in the sky and there's a report of X, Y, and Z, and that drone is monitoring the activities. Then the further away that activity goes from the drone, then we'll have another challenge. So in terms of the distance, but definitely the drone has been a great assistance in us monitoring activities. So that is in full effect as we speak.
Is it that you think that there should be a helicopter unit in terms of, because you see police forces in North America where they have air support via helicopter. Is that something that the TTPS would want?
Well, you know, in the past we had, I can remember, you know, growing up in the service, we had several helicopters used to be in the skies, and that, of course, assisted us dramatically, especially as it relates to stolen vehicles and kidnapping and so on. So definitely, we in the TTPS may not have the capacity to have that particular resource, but I know other agencies, such as the Air Guard and other agencies, will have the resources and the capacity to have that. So to answer your question, yes, helicopters definitely is one of the resources that is necessary to assist us in situations like what we are facing now in terms of kidnappings, stolen vehicles, and so on.
How many drones are in operation, if you can share that information?
Well, for security reasons, I won't be able to share that.
Okay, understood. Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we close?
No, just generally, I just want to ask members of the public, and let the members of the public know that the TTPS, we are still, you know, vibrant, we are still active, we are not asleep, and we are doing all of that we can, and, you know, we need the assistance of members of the public. We cannot do it without them. So we are asking, you know, to utilize the information. A lot of the crimes that we would have detected is as a result of information coming from members of the public, and we want to commend them. And we are asking that they continue to do so, probably increase the amount of things. So I gave them the 800 tips anonymous numbers, and then we have our other emergency numbers, 999, 911, 555, toll free, that they can call if you see something, to say something.
We want to thank you for your continued service and that of your colleagues in a very difficult job. And of course, thank you for being with us this morning.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, ACP. All the best to you. Stay safe.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, be safe.
All righty. Thank you. Of course, that's ACP Wayne Meister of the TTPS.
Got a couple minutes to take some calls.
All right, so 222-8255, toll free for North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's our numbers directly into our studio. It is 12 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock. Of course, top of the hour, we got news update coming up. All right, with AV. So let's grab some of these calls.
So I just wanted to remind people, of course, the theater is on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, at Central Bank Auditorium in Port of Spain. Love is a Walk, and the Central Bank box office is open daily from 12 noon to 6 p.m. and tickets are available at all the usual outlets. You can check RSR Productions Theater on social media for more information.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I've been listening to when you all were speaking about the SSA this morning, and a number of times I hear Paul mention who's going to guard the guards. Now, I think it's very, and I'm tempted to say ludicrous, not to have a body looking over these bodies. I have a recommendation. I think
You're breaking up a bit, sir. You're breaking up.
What happens with this is that when people get a taste of power, and we had a good example with Mr. Gary Griffith behaving as this over-ambitious schoolboy, and you can see that is applied for revenge to get back into office. I think that what you need is to put 2 government ministers. You need a board. 2 government ministers, 1 person from the Coast Guard, 1 person from the Army, 1 person from the police, complaints committee, and a lawyer. And they must have the ability, the authority to fire, hire, and to discipline. The only thing they're not doing is negotiating salaries. And they must meet from time to time to deal with these. You cannot have these bodies with these kind of powers and nobody in control of them. We had a good example with that, and we see that. I think this, we should have a board to look at these people and to monitor them and to do the disciplining and whatnot. Because everything happened, they blame the government, regardless of they fail or not. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
But isn't this entire imbroglio concerning the SSE and the firing of the head of the SSE indicating that there is oversight that came, albeit, long later down the road, but oversight came?
My contention, Richard, is that so much seems to have happened before the oversight came.
Yeah, that is part of the intelligence services.
That's the
because it's
it
not
seems that, but based on what the Prime Minister said, and the Minister of National Security, and the subsequent actions of the Cabinet regarding now terminated Major Best, a lot seems to. So when you have to bring somebody from Washington to investigate personnel operations, etc., it means a lot has happened. And that's my issue. Not that the whistleblower didn't bring it to light eventually, but that so much happened before the action was taken, and so much damage. I think the words of the Prime Minister may have been, and I'm paraphrasing here, damage to national security may have occurred.
Definitely. Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning to all in the studio.
Good morning.
Definitely, all damage was done. I thought you all would have opened the lines because I wanted to ask Officer Meister how a vehicle could be stolen in Diego Martin and pass so many stations after Western Station got that report. And that vehicle, a blue vehicle, which is very noticeable, it's not a white or gray, and ends up in San Fernando. Look at how much stations that vehicle passed. So you want to tell me they never sent out an APB? And that vehicle was allowed. That lady had to go, son. She still, thank God, she got back her vehicle after those guys put down a robbery in a restaurant and bar in San Fernando. Up to now, I still can't understand how that was allowed to happen. I mean, what is this? Going to Denise Plummer, what is this? My God, y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you, caller. Good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning.
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 I got what it is you have to and so on. But generally, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there seems to be a lack of presence of these police officers doing patrols and so on across the east-west corridor and even as far as Shagona and so on. Have you guys noticed that?
You're sounding cloudy, so I'm not telling you clearly. Is it
very difficult to understand what you're saying?
Lack of patrols of police officers, that's what you said? Hello?
Hello?
I think he got cut off.
Okay.
If that's what he said, I disagree with that because I see a lot of police patrols all the time along the east-west corridor. I see roadblocks, I see spot checks, I see that very, very often, consistently along the east-west corridor.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. I just heard what Paul just said there, and I would disagree with you, Paul. The police seems to have the right method in thought and the desire to do it, because I've heard Senior Superintendent Alexander say it several times when he was on air. If you control the streets, you would control the guns, you would control the stuff. The police have the ideas, but I don't know if it's manpower, if it's resources, what it is, but I do not see a strong presence of police on the roads, doing roadblocks, doing spot checks, especially on weekends. Well, don't even talk about Sundays. I just drive from south to north, and I don't see one patrol. The static that they have on the highway is you could pass them at 150, and they don't do anything. They don't observe you. They don't respond. They don't. It's just ridiculous.
While not diminishing your experience, that is not my experience.
Okay, fine. I'm just telling you my experience. I would have liked to ask Mr. Meister for an update reference the video of the 4 young fellas that were killed after the car chase from Cocorit. That Mr. Jacob said would have been, the investigation would have taken 3 months. We're still waiting on an update. I'm glad that you asked him the question about feedback from the TTPS. Subsequent to that, I would have liked to ask him about that feedback from that incident, if that investigation is anywhere near completion. Also, added to that, I don't want to rush the investigation, but I would like to know what is happening with the Mr. Spencer and his investigation of the SSA. Right, because we're not hearing anything about that either.
Yes, Dr.
I know it's going to go to the Prime Minister, and then they're going to probably say they're not revealing the results of the investigation. I know that's how it will probably go down. But I just want them to know that we are watching, we are observing, and we are taking notes for 2025. All right?
All right. Thank you. All right. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up for this Tuesday morning.
Wayne Meister. You run weird.
No, I know Rich have to do his play.
What?
Take some time. You're muted, Rich. You're muted.
Is that powered? Richard, you're muted. I feel there's a phone.
Clean that box in your ears, Richard.
You're not hearing me. Not hearing me.
No hearing you.
So Love is a Walk is on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30 at the Central Bank Auditorium. Tickets available at the Central Bank Auditorium from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily, and at K Squared Fashions, Westgate, K Squared Fashions, Eastgate, Westgates now, K Squared Fashions, West Mall, K Squared Fashions, Eastgate, and K Squared Fashions, Brentwood Mall in Chagonas. They all have tickets. Jubilee Rawi in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Valpark Shopping Plaza, Chevrolet Auto Services, and Electronics in Arima is where you can get tickets. You could also purchase tickets online. Check RSR Productions Theatre on social media, Facebook and Instagram for more information. Looking so forward to it. We are so enjoying doing this play, I'm telling you. I'm having a great time on stage.
Oh, yes, sharing food halftime.
There's a concessionaire where you can purchase.
And he's talking about me with food. But he asking about that.
I don't know what it is when I sit down and say watching at halftime. I just can't wait to go and eat something. I'll be hungry. I don't know why. I guess too much laughter is make you hungry.
Take a bag of popcorn.
I don't think you can carry your own stuff into the auditorium.
No, I don't think they sell popcorn at all. Come to think of it.
Pop your popcorn at home and carry it.
You'll have a great day. Please be safe out there and say a prayer for the safety of this young woman.
Safe.
Please say a prayer for the safe return of this young woman. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sense of positive energy out for her safe return. All right. Have a great day, please.
All right.
Have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing. And remember to smile and laugh. It is good for your health, despite